I love looking at religious teachings and finding the intended truth of the message without any egoic spin on it. It's one of my favorite things to do. One that I've always loved is to be in this world but not of it. In essence, it's saying to keep your feet on the ground and keep your head in the clouds. Basically, notice it, yet believe none of it. When appearing more aligned with truth, there becomes one lens as duality begins to dissipate. Yet, no coincidence that the 3D always reinvigorates salacious thoughts because that's its program to run. That will never change. Yet the open door of awareness always offers a space to peek out, to engage with the 3D, which is fine, as long as one doesn't go back through the door and begin to dabble believing in the salacious thoughts as facts. They truly are a mirage to be enjoyed, but never to be pulled into. What I find interesting when people ask about this is, why does it feel like there's stages or phases? And I just simply say, because the linear mind needs it to appear that way. We are fractals. There is no beginning or end to this, so how can there be time? It's just continuous movement. Yet you apparently can't bypass what feels like a step in this or an order. That's part of this. It's part of it. So that's where the earnestness comes in, to continually be noticing the thoughts and noticing that they are not your own. When one becomes more engaged with that earnestness, the momentum begins to do itself. Initially, it may feel as though one is rocking back and forth between understanding and experiential knowingness, but that too will clean itself up with the earnestness. I've often compared this to a ride I used to go on as a little girl in Virginia at Busch Gardens called the Battering Ram. And basically it was this large ram, and you would get inside of it and sit down, and slowly it would begin to go back and forth, rocking like a cradle. And each time it would get a little higher in the sky as it built up that momentum, basically until it inevitably would go up and sit flat for a moment, like it had lost all motion, and then whoosh, it would come crashing down, until eventually that momentum built enough that the battering ram came all the way up and went all the way over in a full 360-degree loop. And let me tell you, you'll lose your guts when it does. And that's why the unraveling often feels uncomfortable. If you really look at it, it's not fear. It's a momentum of almost adrenaline when things begin to fall away. There's this level of excitement or a new energy that we want to label fearful or scary. Some people will relate it to feeling apathy, feeling absolutely nothing, or numb. And they think, why did I work so hard on this spiritual unraveling to just feel nothing? Or to feel like I'm just sitting on the edge of the planet waiting to fall off. The unraveling gets lighter as well if we don't fill it back up, if we don't go back through that open door and begin to play in the mirage again. each lift in the battering ram that we question that falls away lightens the burden of the load. And then centrifugal force eventually takes over, right? If you use the analogy of the ride, the weight of the load didn't change, right? The amount of people sitting on the ride itself, it's not like a few of them got off and now all of a sudden there's momentum to do the all the way over motion. It built up that momentum, slowly rocking back and forth and back and forth until the centrifugal force takes over. And when it does, it is so clear that we're in it, but not of it. Our role is to breathe and not resist. Keep your feet on the ground and your head in the clouds and let it do itself without any friction and the natural order of it. And then this is when you start to feel the flow of life. It takes over. But that door, that peekaboo option to peek out back into the dream is always there. It's when we give the things that appear at that door feet and legs and run off with it into the salation of the activity that we lose ourselves yet again in the part. Be still and know I am. Be still. Notice it, but don't become it. I hope that helps today as we continue on with the Breathe series, sharing each little bit and nugget that comes through the God Squad in gratitude. I see you doing the things that feel hard. I see the comments of people still going back into the mirage, believing the thoughts. It's why I say, go back to the Talking to the Dead series. Don't listen to these series once. Each time you listen, it gets deepening and deepening, deepening into that unraveling process until the momentum to do it does itself. The questions you are seeking will never be found in the mirage. I assure you of that. But I also assure you there is a lot of salacious activity that will call you right back in. Look through the door. You don't need to go back into the dream. Much love. Until next time.